I made a huge mistake and I took this to a job to do some troubleshooting. And I said it on this channel many times, Fluke is not for troubleshooting. And I'm going to show you in this video exactly why that is. What's the number one brand you guys think of when you think of a multimeter for an electrician? It's the Fluke. Now, I've made a couple of mistakes here recently, gotten a little bit busy. I made some really good purchases and I haven't had time to fully test them, but I've been making videos on this stuff. So I gotta tell you, do not get the Fluke for troubleshooting. This is what's going on here. Homeowner just told me basically he used to come in here and be able to wiggle. I gave him this plug to switch out some plugs to make a higher receptacle up here. But what he just told me was that he was used to be able to wiggle plugs and get things to turn back on. So, dang, this is going to be a little bit of tracing, but that's okay. We got all the tools. Pretty much what you got is loose connections that are feeding through and through like a daisy chain, and we're going to see if we can figure it out. This probably is not going to be the problem. All right, so this is a trick here. One of the fastest ways to troubleshoot. Got 4 different receptacles, daisy chained. Every time we turn on the breaker trips. If we cut the circuit in half, we can quickly identify which side of the room or which side of the house has the problem. Break the joints like this. That's one reason why I pre-twist, guys, because these wire nuts don't really twist your wire that great. A lot of people don't like pre-twisting, but that's why I do. Right now, we could probably turn the breaker on. I bet you if we threw the breaker, it might turn on just by doing that. Okay, so we broke it. We're going to see where the constant hot is. That's a plug. This is a plug. Now, okay, so just by breaking these 3 apart, this should tell us a lot of info here. We're going to find out which one's the hot. This one's the hot. This one goes to this plug, and then this goes to... One more thing I want to throw in here. This is the Weha hammer. Did I need a $50 hammer that is probably not going to do as good as the DeWalt or S-Wing or something like that? Probably not. But I really wanted it, and I brought it to the channel. It is a true Weha hammer. The question is, does it fit inside this setup? See, that's not bad. Pretty cool, man. Always have a hammer with you. It looks classy. It's a good looking hammer. It's got a soft portion on the back here for banging in the wall anchors. There you go. If you guys are tool enthusiasts like me, Weha makes a hammer. Let's get back to the video. Do another receptacle somewhere. I think it's beeping off of this. This is why I don't like these hot sticks. We go from underneath, you can see the power's off. So it's picking up on this one. So this is our hot here. This goes to another plug right here. These two together, our breaker's going to trip. Yes, breaker just tripped. Power's off, which means that our problem is going to be this wire here is shorted to ground or something. We're going to check it out right now. Okay, so he says the breaker stayed on this time. So our problem is going to be here. This one's going to be shorted. We got our constant hot. We got one receptacle feeding a room somewhere. And we got this wire that feeds this plug here. So this is going to be our problem. And we're going to see, does it read continuity to ground? Okay, just check continuity. So basically, if the beeps, you know that the wires are touching each other. We went to the ground, we went to the box, we went to the neutrals, everything. This wire rings clear. So we're about to plug in this tracer here. This is the ET450 from Klein, right there. It's like 250 bucks, one of the best values that you can find. Instead of plugging these in on the side here, we're actually going to find this backwards by plugging this into the outlets in the other room and then working our way backwards, because we're not getting a hot to ground short on the Flukes. If we had a fieldpeice or something, we'd probably see an ohms reading, but the Flukes just don't show you that level of sensitivity when it deals with actual grounds that are touching. So we can't read into the mega ohm range, and that's one reason why I don't particularly like Flukes for troubleshooting. But we're going to plug this into his son's room using these. And we're going to work our way backwards and trace every circuit, every outlet in the circuit. Okay, so we just traced the hots back to the source throughout. So you can see where this is definitely our wire that we're connected to. And then this one also connects on the bottom side. We are going to break this plug loose, I think, and see if it fixes the problem, or we might go to more halfway in the circuit. But one of the best things you can do is just start cutting things apart and seeing where the problem is. It's kind of tedious, but you got to do it. So that's what we're going to do, I suppose. We could probably go here, maybe, because we got less travel for the fluke, and we probably could read a hot to ground short on one of these as well, but it's going to take some time. Just filling it there. Okay, so whenever I was telling you about the fluke not being able to read as accurately as other meters, this is what I'm talking about. We're going to go to the ground here, and we're going to hit the hot, and we're going to hear the beep. At least we were hearing the beep just 2 seconds ago. There you go. And you can see we're flashing 4,000 ohms down there. Now 4,000 ohms is a lot of ohms. I'm guessing the range of this meter is probably 5,000, so once we were around the other side of the room, it was just reading nothing because it wasn't capable of reading. Just a reason why you don't want to get a fluke for troubleshooting. Good life safety meters to tell you if the power's on or off, built like a tank, but not good for troubleshooting. So I don't know if it's in this box or what box it's in. The only way to know is just disconnecting everything like we started off saying. So that's what we're going to have to do. We can also check the neutral at this point, but I don't think it's going to be the neutral problem because we're getting voltage 120. So the neutral I think is all intact. If we go here, we're not getting the beep. If we go here, we get the beep. And we should range the ohms a little bit less because we have less connected to the same circuit. So what usually happens, right? You change out one plug in your house and then all the other ones die. And why is that? Well, that's because it goes to the next weakest point and starts working on that. So just by pulling this plug out of the wall, we're probably going to fix our problem here. Let's see. See what we find here. Maybe not. You never know. Never know. The ground does not look like it was touching anything, but even just this insulation here, you can see where it's a little bit swollen. Just this insulation over time touching this metal box can cause problems. And we had about 4,000 ohms. It's very possible that's what's going on here. There's a couple of ways we can figure this out. We can go here. See, this is definitely our plug here. We're just going to start cutting. Because right now if I check continuity, we're going to get continuity. Let's see what continuity we get. Want to hold that? Continuity meaning basically continuous. So we're going to get beeps. Beeps right there. The lower the number, the closer we are to the problem. Remember, we're almost at 5,000 in the other room. We're probably going to be closer to 3 to 2,000 now that we're directly getting closer here. Let me see if we can find it. I'm still not getting a number there. If we had a better multimeter, it might tell us what we're going to do. You can see we are getting continuity to the ground now. We're going to cut this one off like that. And just by cutting that one off, we'll know, did we find our problem? Because this is the center plug. So we still got continuity. Not an official number there, but definitely shouldn't hear any noise. So we're probably not going to get any beeping on this side, and we don't. So we're touching this black wire here. Might need the real strippers on it. This is the job for a real stripper. So you're going to see here, if we go to ground, we touch this, we're clean now. So the problem's probably going to be where we plugged in at. This thing mimics like powers on, because I can verify what's still connected, and it's almost like a fake kind of source of power, so you at least know kind of what the circuit is doing without trying to guess. So we still know that we are on the same wire that the problem is on, and that wire is no longer up here. So if we separate these wires, we go over here, you can see the wire is no longer here as much as it is over here. So the problem is going to be, of course, on the hardest plug to get to. It's usually a rule of thumb. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we found the problem and we're verifying here. We're going to see when we go to hot to ground here, we are clean. We're not getting any continuity there. And if we touch our meter leads, you can get the beep. So we have found the problem. Shout out to this piece of garbage, the Fluke. Why do we like Fluke? Why do we hate Fluke? They're really good for keeping us safe, and they're reliable. They suck for troubleshooting. So you can see at one point where we had 5,000 ohms. Yeah, that's going to be a problem if you can't read a higher scale than that. Once plugs stop like plugging in, what happens is your kid starts like jamming the plug in harder and moving the plug more than it ever has moved, and you start shorting out to the box. Pretty common problem. Just replace your plug, save you guys some money. There's a couple of things you want to make sure it's not before you really start tracing like we did. We did all that, and it might seem like I start off a little bit slow, but if you take your time, you're completing the checklist of what it could and couldn't be. So once you get down to the last plug, you know you found the problem. So there you go. That's how you fix it. Everything's all tied together. So if we go here and we turn this off and we select it to continuity here, we can see that we're going to get some beeps. Okay. And if I grab this finger here with the lead and I grab here, you're going to see that it just shows OL. It's because there's resistance in my body that this meter cannot pick up. Which means if you go to a house, there's a short, ground fault, whatever you want to call it, that meter is not going to identify it for you. So as weird as it is, man, you get the cheaper multimeters that you don't trust your life with, you just trust them for troubleshooting. There's a big difference, okay? These are very good for troubleshooting. I'm going to show you why. First off, we get built-in NCV. So NCV, non-contact voltage sensing. All we got to do is just get an extension cord right there, and it'll let us know if the power's on or off. So we're sensing the magnetic field. Really good multimeter for troubleshooting anything with NCV built in it. Now, this is where this multimeter may confuse less experienced electricians, or for sure a homeowner. Okay, this is why I don't really recommend these on the channel. There. Okay, now we're getting ohms. We're gonna read through my body. Basically what's going on right now, we're sending the 9-volt battery from this finger through my body back to this finger to complete the circuit. Probably not the best idea to be putting voltage to your body like that, but that's basically what's happening there.